Hello, this is Mr. Buffington, and today we are going to look at order of operations. This is in connection with the lesson that we released last week, only this will be sample questions that go along with that lesson. So if you're looking for a full lesson, check out last week's lesson. If you're looking for sample questions, this is the place to be. Also, since we've been social distancing and doing a lot of distance learning, I've had some people reach out to me and ask me which tools I use. I also had a company reach out to me and send me kind of an upgrade of a tool that I've previously used in the past. This is a stylus tool that allows me to write on the board without having to use my mouse. I'll talk about that tool at the end for any teachers who are here to see which tools might work best, but for now, let's get into the math questions. As you can see, we are doing order of operations. Let's get into our sample questions. We'll have 5 sample questions today that will be using the order of operations. The first question is to actually solve a math problem. This one here you see has 6 minus 5 plus 2. We're going to go through the order of operations here. First off, there are no grouping symbols. There's no exponents. There is no multiplication and division. So that leaves us with our final step of addition, subtraction. Notice I write addition, subtraction in a single step. That's because it's done in a single step, starting at the left, moving to the right. That means in this case, we're going to subtract first. We're going to do 6 minus 5, which gives us a 1. And then we add 2 for our final answer of 3. 1 plus 2 does equal 3 in this math class. I think one of the biggest mistakes that students make with this is when they think of the please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. And I mentioned this in the lesson, that we think this is step 1, this is 2, then we go 3, 4, 5, 6. And so people would sometimes do the addition before the subtraction, and that is not the case. Multiplication division is step 3, and addition subtraction is step 4. They are done in one step, starting at the left, moving to the right. Let's move on to our next question. This one is saying, what is the first step when given this expression? The expression is 14 times 4 minus 2. There are grouping symbols here, so we need to be aware of those grouping symbols and solve it accordingly. That gets simplified first. So the first step is 4 minus 2. That's your first step. Everything else will get solved afterwards, but that's the very first thing that we need to do. That's it. That's all this question's asking. It is not asking us to actually solve this expression. Let's move on to our next one. Again, what is the first step? This one's got some more complex grouping symbols. So we need to look at all of the grouping symbols. Starting here with our brackets. When you consider grouping symbols, it's kind of like an onion. You peel off the layers and you go as far into the center as you can at the beginning. So we see here we've got these brackets. Then inside the brackets you've got parentheses, 3 minus 2. So the first step for this one is that subtraction, 3 minus 2. I'm not asking you to solve this expression. It's kind of a complex expression for a 6th grader first learning the order of operations. You could solve it if you feel comfortable with it, but in this question, all I'm saying is what is the first step? So our answer is 3 minus 2. Question 4 asks us, what is the last step? This one here is a little bit more complicated because if you're trying to find the last number, you would actually have to solve this expression step by step. But I'm not looking for the actual numbers there. We're going to look at grouping symbols, and that's all we need to look at. Because just like I said before, everything inside of the brackets here would get simplified first. And we would do that following the order of operations. But that would all get simplified, and then at the end, we have this addition. It's 12 plus whatever that equals when it's simplified. So our final step here is addition. So we don't have to say it's 12 plus a certain number and say what that number is. We don't even have to say it's 12 plus. We just have to recognize that the final step is going to be addition. That's the operation that will be used at the end. Question 5, this is the last question we're going to go over. It also emphasizes the common error that I've been repeating a couple of times. There are no grouping symbols. There's no exponents. And we come to multiplying and dividing in one step from left to right. In this case, we are going to divide first because division is the first one we come to when we go from left to right. So we'll do 15 divided by 3, which gives us 5. And then we leave everything else as it is. And then we solve 5 times 2, which gives us 10. And that's our final answer for this question. Again, with division and multiplication, it works the same as addition, subtraction. You start at the left and you move to the right. And I apologize if you can hear that banging like everyone else. My kids are home, so you get to hear some of them in the background while we're making recordings. All right, let's do a quick... That's the end of this math video. But again, if you are a teacher coming here looking for tools that I use, I just made this video using the Star G640. I will have a link to that in the video description. It is by XP Pen. This is a great tool. It's sleek, it's small, it fits really easily on my desk, and it was just plug in and it started working. It works with this video I made in PowerPoint. So you can draw on PowerPoint, you can draw on Google Slides, you can, actually Google Slides is a little harder to draw on, but you can draw inside of any document that will allow you to just click in a mouse. It's just a lot easier because you're using a stylus, so it's just writing like you would normally write. It's also great for signing PDFs and stuff like that. I had a similar tool to this, only it was kind of large and bulky, and it's about like 12 years old. And I've used it when I was teaching math classes. I used it all the time for distance learning math classes. I couldn't get through a class without using it. So this one here is actually pretty inexpensive. It's only like 40 bucks. I'll have the link to that in the video description down there, so you can check it out if that's what you're looking for. It's a great tool. I highly recommend it. I used it for this whole lesson. Everything you saw me write on the board was using that tool. Anyway, I hope that video was helpful for you. Have a wonderful day, guys.